Gotta be fucking kidding.
Here's the first movie.
Did you know I'm utterly insane?
Peel that pig and slice him thick.
The body count is always bigger.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
The fucking trees walked in those movies.
Hi, doggy.
What a story, Mark.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled.
It's just like your opinion, man.
Life moves pretty fast.
If you want your sequel to become a franchise.
37 dicks. In a row?
I'm your number one fan.
This is it, people. Today's the day. We're finally at the end of the Pirates of the Caribbean voyage that we've embarked on these last few weeks. It's sad, but all journeys must come to a close.
We've made it 12 hours. 12 hours of Pirates of the Caribbean.
You know, we really should have just made, like, all these episodes in total 12 hours long. I feel like altogether this is going to be, like, 6 hours, maybe?
Probably 6, but
yeah.
There's... man, well, thank you if you have stuck in for this long.
You guys are
hopefully it was
legends.
enjoyable enough, us talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
I hope for, if you're like me, that it was more enjoyable than actually watching the movies.
Too harsh, man. Too harsh.
But I think that you, as the guide of this Pirates of the Caribbean marathon, that you should do the honors and tell us first your ranking, because I'm very curious.
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
And
okay.
I think that there's no way that we are going to align here, so don't worry, people.
Definitely not. This will not be like Wimpy Kid or Scream. This will be like Wes Anderson. We'll have a bit of a different selection.
Exactly, different takes from different perspectives, which is what we want to show you. That's what we want
strokes,
to do.
different folks. Let's go.
So I think we just gotta go through it, and not go too slow.
Yeah.
Just beat through the main points.
Yeah. No worries. Anyways, all right. So number 5, my least favorite is obviously On Stranger Tides.
Thank God.
Terrible, awful movie. Like it's not just the fact that like it feels like a side plot in this movie. It doesn't matter if it was like even if it felt like a spin-off. As long as it like had some form of substance in terms of the effects or, spectacle, I wouldn't care about like it kind of meaning nothing to the rest of the franchise. But it's like one of the most dull, lifeless action-adventure swashbuckling movies I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, worst DLC I've ever experienced.
Exactly! It's terrible! And like the fact that it came off the heels of like, a pretty strong trilogy, that... Especially with, Johnny Depp being the lead in this one and having it be, like, the highest budgeted movie at that point, and I think still, as of right now, the money really does not show with this film in terms of spectacle, you know what I mean?
It shows, right, that, like... Captain Jack Sparrow can't really carry being the protagonist, right?
No, you can't. And as much as we bitched about, Will and Elizabeth, you need those kind of characters to, balance out the weirdness and the kind of honestly one-note personality of Jack Sparrow.
Yeah, I think you need layers, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't really have that many layers.
And even the characters that he plays off in this movie, they don't work because they have no personality. They're incredibly one-note and flat-out, rage-inducingly annoying. Blackbeard. And... the story's not even captivating either. It's just, it's like the worst example of the MacGuffin hunt curse that this movie series has had.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
Because you just don't care. And that's, I think, a perfect way to sum up this film. I don't care.
Yeah.
Okay. Man.
Perfect.
Anyways, number 4, Dead Men Tell No Tales. Now... I think one thing I gotta say is that, this is not an awful movie, honestly. I may have thought that back in the day. I do not think this is an awful movie, though. It is a huge... Just because it's number 4 on my list does not mean that it is, that I think it's terrible. Honestly, a lot of fun. Now, is a lot of it intentional? No. It's a very unintentionally hilarious movie to me, and I have a lot of fun whenever the movie is trying to be epic or scary or intimidating, especially with the main villain, and honestly fails really hard at that, but not in a way that On Stranger Tides did. There was a lot of heart and I feel like there was heart and soul in this movie, and even though a lot of it does not work for me, including the humor, the action, Jack Sparrow's depiction, some of the set pieces. I can look past that because I at least can tell that they cared when they made this movie.
Yeah, I think that's really important, right?
Yeah.
You feel like that you're respected by someone showing you their creative piece instead of like a big assembly line film.
Yeah, no, honestly. And I came away from this film maybe not loving everything and hating quite a few things about it, but at least I'll remember this film. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
It's not that bad, honestly. Dead Men Tell No Tales, not that bad. It's quite good. Not great, but hey, nothing's perfect. Anyways, number 3, you might be a bit mad at me, At World's End. Now, it's flawed, it's too long, it's bloated, stupid, nonsensical, ridiculous, some terrible performances. We have a whole episode dedicated to what's wrong with this movie. However, I just can't say I hate this movie, not gonna lie. There's just, I don't know, for me, I think a lot of it comes down to the potential that this movie had, that when I'm thinking about my own kind of fan theories and like what I would have done better, it's fun to really pick apart this film and think about what it could have been, how like this film could have been made into the perfect ending to this trilogy. I have a similar feeling to this film that I do to Scream 3, because Scream 3, terrible movie, awful. It's stupid. It doesn't make sense. It's ludicrous. But I have a soft spot for that movie, and I have a soft spot for this movie. There's a lot to love in At World's End, in my opinion, honestly. The spectacle, while it's, over the top, it's grand. It's epic. It's an epic film that it just is crushed under its own weight, I think.
Yeah, that's fair. It had a lot to live up to.
Yeah, and a lot of it did not fulfill, but, it still... It tried. It failed, but it tried.
This feels the most like, I would say, like a typical like MCU big epic. Yeah.
It feels like, it feels like an MCU epic kind of, except maybe a bit better. To be honest, bit better than a lot of them. Anyways, number 2. Now with the final 2, I honestly really had to kind of swap around because I really cannot tell which one I like more anymore. But number 2, Dead Man's Chest. What can I say? It's just a sequel that's done right. It's what a sequel should be. It ups the stakes. It expands on the lore, but not dumping too much on us, on the audience. Introducing new and exciting characters, that being Davy Jones, the Fish Crew, even Bootstrap Bill, and also developing characters that maybe weren't as well-rounded in the first film, like Elizabeth and Will. And hell, even Jack, I feel, has some development in this movie. With the whole, he needs to get over his kind of cowardice and running away from his fate. You know what I mean? Running away from his debt.
Yeah.
And I just think that's a nice little character arc to show, that he needs to grow, that, he may be one of the greatest pirates that was ever known, brave man, charismatic, but he's still afraid. He's vulnerable. And I like that. Also, love the Kraken, Davy Jones, special effects wise, just chef's kiss. Chef's kiss of a film, visually. Honestly.
100%.
On God, for real.
And now, Kane, what is your number 1? What could it be?
The one that started it all. I fucking hate that line. I hate that line.
Where it all began.
Where it all began. No, it's, Pirates of the Caribbean 1, Curse of the Black Pearl. There's not really much that I can say about this film that I haven't already said or that other people have said. I just think for me, because I grew up with this film and I watched it a fuck ton as a kid, it's just one of those kind of films that just scratches an itch that many other big budget action films just don't do for me anymore. It gives me this sense of just adventure. It fills me with excitement. You're introduced to these characters and, they're not the most well-rounded people ever, and some of the performances can be a bit icky, cough, cough, Orlando Bloom. But I think I don't know, for me, it's just just a really fun time because you're introduced to this new world, these crazy characters, and this grand adventure that a lot of people hadn't really seen at that point in time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
And it was one of those, and also for me as well, it's watching this as a kid, I didn't see this kind of stuff when I was younger. This skeleton crew, Johnny Depp playing this crazy pirate that kind of plays both sides, seeing this period of time this age of piracy, but with this added edge of supernatural threats that's really excited me as a kid and still excites me as a jaded 21-year-old adult.
It did spark like pirates back into like the public consciousness of like one of the most identifiable pop culture like elements that there are.
They made pirates profitable again.
Yes, yeah, exactly. That's the real piracy.
Yeah.
So I think that like your ranking, by the looks of it, I looked at a couple of other rankings around, and that seems to be like a quite common consensus.
You reckon?
One that you have is that like they get sort of worse besides number 4, which is dog shit.
Yeah.
So it seems like that most rankings will either have that they just progressively get worse, or that the swap over of the last two that you have. Which I think that's a pretty definitive list.
I feel like my kind of ranking is a bit more universal. But I stand by my opinion.
Yeah.
Although, like I said, it is very hard to choose which one I'm in the mood for more. I think for me, the first two movies in the ranking, like Dead Man's Chest and Black Pearl, I feel like it just depends on my mood. Which one am I into watching more? Like I really cannot decide honestly which one I like more. However, at this moment, it is Black Pearl. Because it is the most iconic.
Yeah, that's fair.
And also just the most simple as well. It's like an easy movie to like just kick back and relax and just smile.
I was able to find a ranking that puts At World's End as the best one.
Interesting.
Yep, it's pretty much like they keep on getting worse. Besides At World's End, which is the best one. That's Collider's list.
Okay.
Maybe the hype of like if you were there at the time, maybe the year hype build up and like the spectacle of it. Imagine going to like a packed theater, everyone's so hyped to see what's happening with these characters. Maybe that's it.
I mean I don't know. I didn't go to watch these in the theater. I only watched On Stranger Tides in theaters. I never watched the other ones in theaters. I had to wait till they were on DVD or on TV.
And thank God.
And I was all the more better for it.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's see yours, mate.
Okay, so mine's going to be a bit of a controversial list, everyone, but buckle in. So, for the last one, Curse of the Black... No, I'm joking. On Stranger Tides.
You're a funny man, Rhys. Fuck you.
Definitely the last one. So, the most painful experience, this is actively bad. What ties into this here is just how visually dull it is, and the villain... The villain is probably one of my least favorite villains that I can recount in recent history for myself.
100% agree.
I hate Blackbeard in this, and he is ridiculous, and I have to say it again, do this or I'll kill you, is his only intimidation tactic. It's so fucking dumb. Oh my god.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So that's all I'm going to say about that movie. Never need to talk about it ever again.
Never need to watch it ever again.
Yeah, never need to watch it ever again. My next spot goes to At World's End. This just is not as painfully bad. It's just not good, I don't think. Also, sorry, I had to say here, is that the On Stranger Tides, most expensive movie ever to be made, is just awful. This one here, the third most expensive movie ever to be made, just not very good. Shows how money doesn't always mean quality.
Exactly.
And it just goes on for far too long and focuses mainly on tying up loose ends created in the last 10 minutes of the movie to come before it.
And let's not forget that they created more loose ends that they then needed to tie up.
It just, oh my god, it felt like my time was being disrespected and wasted. That's what it felt like. It's boring, it lacks soul, and is just an ultimate disappointment to the trilogy. It's the first sort of like big hype one, like where it's relying on a lot of hype, and it just
dropped the ball.
Drops it, man.
Yeah.
With there's the spectacle that's there, but soulless spectacle.
Oh yeah.
And what I think makes me so angry about this one, if On Stranger Tides wasn't so actively bad, then this one would beat it because of the cards that it had to potentially play and do well.
Yeah.
It had so much money. It had so much build-up from the last one, especially with Davy Jones, who I think is a phenomenally built character, that they just did not execute on properly. So that's it's the wasted potential that I get angry at here.
Yeah. Like, I feel like with this movie, honestly, if it you said earlier that if it wasn't for On Stranger Tides being so shit, this movie would probably be like the bottom of your list, right?
Yes, yeah.
I think that's why I kind of like this movie a bit more than you do, is because On Stranger Tides was so shit. Like after watching this, and I was like, oh, this is stupid, and then watching On Stranger Tides, it gave me more appreciation for At World's End, because at least a lot more of it stood out to me. A lot of it was not good, but a lot of it stood out to me.
I think that On Stranger Tides is much, much worse than At World's End, but
Definitely.
my hopes were down at that point.
Yeah.
So then I wasn't as offended by it.
True. Okay, fair enough.
But then moving on to my third pick, controversial.
Yeah, here we go.
Curse of the Black Pearl.
Fuck you.
The first one.
I hate you.
I have the least to say about this one because this movie is nothing to me. It just gives me nothing. I've almost like the least memory from it because I think that it's just because it's introducing the pirates world, and that's fair. But I just am not into it, and it doesn't have that much weight to me. I enjoy, or like I like the rawness of it, but because it's the rawest of all of them, I don't really have the most fun with it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so I think that what this one does well is that it like immerses you in the pirates world, but I don't really care to be there too much.
Yeah.
And be immersed really deep in there. But my favorite thing is that it has the best Captain Jack Sparrow arc.
Of course.
Like, without a doubt. But then also probably the worst Will Turner and Elizabeth stuff is just... It's just boring, and it feels to me like it doesn't have too much soul. But, so I don't get too eaten alive by people that are fans of this series, I'll move on to my second favorite, which, another controversial opinion, Dead Men Tell No Tale.
I honestly can't believe it, man. I can't fucking believe it. Like, I knew this was coming, but still.
I had fun with this. It's not extremely deep, but at this point in the franchise, I sort of didn't expect it to be deep because I honestly don't think that any of these are deep. So because of that, it stimulated me for its runtime, and that's all that I demanded at this point in the franchise. Especially after seeing 4 films that felt very similar, this one gave me something that felt fresh, and it gave me something to hook on to actually enjoy. And because of that, that's why it's my second favorite Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
So, me in 2017, if I had heard that, I would have kicked your fucking ass. Honestly. Oh shit! I just spat on you. Sorry.
I know that not many people are going to agree with me with that point, but I think that I like good freaking Captain Salazar. I think that he's interesting. I like the campiness of this. I like the campy pirates instead of the hey, take me seriously pirates. And then comes my number one, which is Dead Man's Chest.
This one does not anger me. This one, fair enough.
This, I think, is the most skillful out of the films.
Yeah.
I understood the hype of the Pirates franchise during this the most. I was really immersed in the world, great expansion. I think that's what I was interested in, is that, like, the first film seemed to introduce this world, and, like, it's quite a rich world, but not very expansive. This here, pretty much, I think that it implied to me there's more than what you've just seen. And it's quite rich, and there's a lot of fun places that I can go. Like with my favorite part of the entire franchise being Pirates of the Cannibal Holocaust.
I knew you were going to bring that back.
The start of this film, which is just such a fun time. It's so interesting, it's unique, it's not like anything that I've sort of seen before, other than, Cannibal Holocaust, but, in a different, definitely different tone.
Yeah, Cannibal Holocaust was a lot more fun, yeah.
Oh, yes, yeah, totally. So I really, really like that. And I think masterfully done, Davy Jones, his introduction, his what's it called? Increase of intensity of his madness and his intimidation is fantastic. On par with the Joker's introduction in The Dark Knight,
so
I believe.
Fucking good. Honestly, I honestly think his introduction is better than the Joker introduction. Only just by a bit, because I'm scared more of Davy Jones than I was of the Joker.
Honestly, I probably agree.
Yeah.
I probably agree here, man.
Yeah.
But the thing that almost like this would probably be like a 4 out of 5 to 4.5 out of 5 star movie for me if it wasn't for the last 10 minutes that just pretty much redacted what it was doing. It felt like,
and you don't mean you don't mean it about the Kraken scene. You purely talk about how like it's just like we got to go get Jack back, cut the black, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I was gonna say if you start throwing shade at the Kraken sequence, I'm gonna have to slap you.
No. The Kraken loved it it so much. Another huge highlight of this film, but it's the unnecessity to leave it on a cliffhanger to make you more excited for the next one. And it felt like that my 2 hours and a half had not been wasted because I had a really good time, but had been slandered a little bit, had been taken through the mud and gone, well, if you want to get satisfied from this, you gotta see another 3 hours of this.
What a tease.
So because
of
that...
don't be such a tease.
So, very, very annoyed. And... through looking at a lot of other rankings, I couldn't find any lists that were similar to mine, which makes me... This is the definitive Rhys list. I'm happy that this is my own personal ranking of these films.
It's yours, and don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. Rhys. Don't even let me tell you otherwise.
Yeah, stop trying to tell me who to be. So yeah, that is my take, and I'm satisfied with it. Overall, I'm not a Pirates fan. Like, I'm not a Pirates of the Caribbean fan.
Yeah. It's a bit, I will say, it's been a very heartbreaking last couple of weeks seeing that other franchise that I quite love with a lot of my heart, you're not as big of a fan of. But hey, you know what? Can't have them all, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I thought that's what was going to happen with Wes Anderson. I thought upon
you thought I wasn't going to care for them?
I thought you weren't going to care for them.
Yeah.
I thought like...
I was worried about that, honestly, too, after Bottle Rocket, not gonna lie.
I was like, oh no, he's not gonna like them.
Yeah, but then like, I feel like I had a similar effect with you with the Pirates. How you really liked the second movie. How like with me with Rush, when I watched Rushmore being the second Wes Anderson movie, that's when I was like, oh yeah, okay, we're getting somewhere.
Yes, and then it just exponentially got better and better as it went, sort of thing.
And then with Wes Anderson, it's like I didn't hate any of the movies. It's just some of them just didn't do anything for me, or like some of them just thought were just okay.
For me, 3 out of 5 of these movies I do not like, and I don't like.
Damn.
Okay, man. I can't say don't think are very good because I think the first Pirates movie is good. It's just not that.
It's just not you. You just don't care for it.
Yeah,
on a personal level.
I feel like that my top picks of number 2 and number 5.
Yeah,
they feel like that they have the most personality and stand out to me the most. The others do not. They seem. I feel that they lack that personality that I would like to see in a Pirates film.
Damn.
And also it gave my hopes up, the second one, by showing you, yes, this world is big. It's like, or even like the start of the third one.
Yeah.
Not that it's a good film, and not that I liked any of the Singaporean elements, but it was like, it reminded me, oh yeah, this is set on Earth.
Yeah.
Earth is pretty big. There's a lot here to work with. I forgot beforehand. I was like, oh yeah, there's on some the pirate planet. And then I'm like, oh no, they went to Singapore. That's a country.
They're on Treasure Planet, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Hell. Even though right in the title, it's Pirates of the Caribbean.
What's the Caribbean? Is it just this distant planet? What's going on? Is this like Waterworld where there's only tiny islands? What the hell's going on?
Yeah, exactly. So there were some enjoyable moments, but overall, I didn't love any of these. Besides maybe the first, second one. Sorry.
Yeah.
Dead Man's Chest, I enjoyed.
Yeah.
And I did like it.
Yeah. And you did like Dead Men Tell No Tales as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that too. But like, yeah, I think that number 2 is the only one that I couldn't really recommend the fifth one to anyone.
Yeah.
I could recommend the second one to people.
I get you. Well, despite the fact you may not have enjoyed the series, you can at least say that you've seen them now.
Exactly.
You can come away saying that you've seen them, you've experienced them, and and I could say that I showed you something that I love, and you crushed my heart, and you crushed my heart afterwards.
Oh no,
you scum of the earth! Fuck you.
Well, at least I'm glad that I have seen them. I feel
I'm glad you've seen them.
I at least know. I at least have an opinion on it.
Yeah, no.
Sometimes there's media that you just want to have an opinion on, and I do, and I have my own.
Yeah, and that's your opinion, and I may not agree with it, but I can respect it, Rhys.
Oh, thank
I can
you.
respect it.
Thank you. At least I have arguments to why. And also this I think must be said is that this franchise not enjoyable to marathon. It is 12 hours of a commitment of films that are fairly inconsistent and fairly repetitive.
Yeah, you definitely feel the length.
Like, our first sitting was 1, 2, and 3, and it was exhausting.
Yeah.
It has been... It is less exhausting today recording 4 podcasts in a row than watching, which is a passive experience, watching those 3 movies in a row.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that really says something.
Yeah, honestly. Oh my god, it was... You feel the runtime more marathoning this than, say, marathoning something like Lord of the Rings. Despite them, being long movies, they're all equaling... I feel like a franchise needs to be, like, equal in terms of, quality, consistency.
Yeah.
Because if it's, like, inconsistent, then it's really gonna try your patience.
And I feel that something like Lord of the Rings is that they all have a place in the franchise wherever they exist.
Yeah.
Like, as in, they all make sense as parts of something bigger.
Yeah. It's all one consistent flowing narrative.
Why I think that this doesn't work as a marathon is that I feel that it's like... that it feels like, hey, let's do Pirates of the Caribbean again.
Yeah.
Let's do Pirates of the Caribbean again. So then you do the movie again, and they hit all the points that they needed to hit, and without giving it too much personality, too much difference.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's why. But anyway, are you excited to get into the some more media from the Pirates of the Caribbean?
Yeah, you know I am.
So we also watched a bonus film after this that was recommended by someone at work. I told a guy at work about how I was doing the Pirates of the Caribbean marathon for the podcast, and he went, "Wow, you should go watch Pirates from 2005." We put on Pirates, and it's a porno.
Yeah.
And it's apparently one of the most, like, high-budget pornos that exist.
Wait, was it?
Yes.
Oh my god.
It was one of the first big ones.
Pirates of the Caribbean is like one of those highest budget in terms of Hollywood movies, and then this has and then Pirates to carry on the legacy, the highest budget in porn.
I think that's like the essence that, or like the it's the title that this has in like the porn film world. Damn, is that man. It's got like, it was one of the first ones to kickstart the whole high budget porno craze.
Yeah, man.
And I don't think you can really see it, honestly. My evaluation.
I mean, unless the highest budget porno was like $300, then like, yeah sure, I guess you can see the details. But like, I don't really watch that many high production pornos anymore. I'm not 14,
Yeah, So I think that this may be a recurring thing that we do in the ranking episode is watch a porn version of whatever we
this is going to be a recurring bit, okay.
And it's one of those things that it might start out funny, it might start out you're like having a good time, until people start fucking.
Yeah.
And then you're watching porn with your friend.
Yeah, and then it just gets a bit weird, and then we got to talk about it.
Yeah,
we got to talk about how we watched porn. Talk about it to our audience.
Yeah, it's
that
not really
feels wrong.
Yeah, it's especially too that I don't really think that Pirates was that fun when sex wasn't happening, and then when sex was happening, it wasn't that fun because I was with my best friend there.
Yeah, so not the biggest fan of watching sex scenes with my best friend and co-host.
Yeah, like a classic example of this is recently at one of Kane's brothers' movie premieres. We watched a gay porno called Muscle Beach.
Wait, what? When the fuck was
you
this?
Not there?
Muscle Beach? What?
So, you know how I got... Okay, here's the story, everyone. I really wanted Nick to watch Curb Your Enthusiasm for the longest time. Okay. So, I got him for his birthday, Curb Your Enthusiasm Season 1 on DVD from an op shop.
Yeah.
I bought it for $1, got out the front.
Yes. Oh, I actually saw that disc last night, actually, because I was going to watch Curb, and then I didn't want to watch it because that porno turned me off. I didn't watch it, I just saw the disc.
I opened the cover, and don't worry, both discs were there. But there was also a bonus disc of a very badly burnt copy of Muscle Beach, which had a big naked man on the front
with a big long cock.
Okay,
you can see his cock.
Yes. So yeah, and that's there, like right on the front of the disc. And we thought it would be funny to watch this at some point. We put it in at Nick's movie premiere.
When did you do this? Where was I?
It was in Nick's bedroom.
I must have been like...
I don't know when.
I must have been somewhere. I don't know. Maybe I was like on my walk with Jacob at that point. I don't know.
For the first 3 minutes, title card of Muscle Beach, watching some muscly men hang out on a boat. Hilarious. So much fun. Yeah. Then they started fucking, and then... I was in a big room of people watching men have sex, and it sort of stopped being fun and started being very uncomfortable.
That's just like when you talk about, oh, this is so much fun, and they started fucking. And then
it wasn't as fun.
Christ, I'm glad I wasn't there. I don't want to be in the same room with my fucking brother watching porn.
It was sort of like we were all laughing and chatting and bickering about the whole thing until the oral sex began, and then there was just this silence that filled the room, and we all sort of like knew that we should turn it off, but no one like. I think that everyone sort of felt like, are we ruining the joke if we turn it off? But then I just went, hey guys, I think we should be...
You're like...
I'm not having fun anymore. Does anyone care if I turn this off? And then everyone was like, please.
All of you guys are like Job from the rest of the film, and I've made a terrible mistake. Oh my god.
So yeah. Same thing with pirates.
Yeah, not fun.
Not a lot of fun.
Yeah. Does this mean we're gonna? So are we actually gonna find a porn version of the next movie series that we're gonna be watching?
I think that if it feels natural, this came up in conversation at work, and I felt like it had to be done.
Yeah. Okay.
And also just had to spice up this episode a little bit more. Yeah. We'll put it in like the tags for this episode.
Oh yeah. Good.
Yeah.
I'm sure
pirate pornography. Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh, hell yeah.
Tags.
Yeah.
And then there's also
to
go on to another property.
Same level of quality and consistency, and also tone as well.
Lego Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, those Legos get me all hot and heavy, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, so that was huge.
It was huge. That game was actual straight fire.
I think you're just seeing this as a game. Like also the toys. The actual Lego sets.
I can't believe I actually forgot about the Lego sets. The Lego sets were so sick. I had a Lego. I hate on Stranger Tides. I hate Blackbeard, but I had the Lego set of his ship, and it looks so much cooler than it does in the movie. In the movie, it's so drab and ugly. In the Lego set, it's beautiful. It's got bright red sails. Oh, it was so much fun to build. Oh my god.
Honestly, the best thing to be provided from On Stranger Tides, because the whole rest of nothing else really great to provide. But I was always very jealous of the Lego Pirates of the Caribbean set with the big wheel from...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because I never got that one.
It was one of those interactive ones as well, where you could like put Jack on it, and you could sort of like move the wheel around.
Yeah.
And I was always very jealous, even though I'd never seen the movie. And the actual video game I never played.
I can't believe you never played it. It's just it's just like every other Lego game. It's a lot of fun. I had a bitch of a time trying to unlock Davy Jones as a character, because like you have to interact with characters that just randomly appear like in the hub world. You can't just go to like a store and buy them like in Lego Indiana Jones or Lego Star Wars.
Oh, okay.
And for some reason trying to find Davy Jones was hard as piss. Also, I didn't have good internet back in the day. This was like 2011. I didn't have good internet, so I couldn't even like search up a guide. I just had to like go on sheer luck, and I don't know why it was so difficult. But the day that I unlocked Davy Jones as a character was the day I stopped playing the game. Because I think I literally stopped playing after I unlocked him. But I unlocked him still. I had him.
That always happens though. In Lego Harry Potter, the last character to unlock, I'm quite sure, is Voldemort.
Yeah.
And you unlock him, and you're like, hell yes, got this, amazing. And then you're like, I have nothing left to do in this.
I'm done now.
Cool. Uninstalling the game, great.
Oh, man.
There was a Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl PS2 game that I loved.
Ooh.
That was fun. That was a lot of fun. It probably wasn't very good. It has terrible facial animations.
Worse than Dead Men Tell No Tales, Rhys?
Oh, worse.
Really?
No.
No, come on. You're going to give it an excuse. That was like, what, mid-2000s?
Yeah, exactly.
On shitty hardware?
More equivalent for the time.
Okay.
Where Dead Man Tell No Tale,
yeah.
not equivalent for the time.
Yeah, like for 2005 when the game came out or something.
Yeah.
More age appropriate.
So I see Pirates of the Caribbean more fondly as a video game property than a film property.
I feel like you should see it more fondly as like anything but a film property. You look more fondly back on the games and like the merchandise
and the toys.
yeah, the merchandise.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I more so was surrounded by the movies and the merchandise as well. I guess I never had any of the toys, but I did have a lot of the Legos and the video game, obviously. So,
very good point.
Yeah.
Well, I think that we should wrap it up here. Make it short and sweet because, we have spoken about Pirates of the Caribbean for a very long amount of time.
Yeah, and my mouth is very dry at the moment.
That is fair. And I have a movie to go to.
Yes,
there
you
is
do.
currently at the point of recording this, I have helped sort of like co-organize or like help out with at Cinema Nova.
There we go, he's got to flex his achievements.
Yes, a 7 Days of Cage, Nicolas Cage event where over 7 days they're playing 8 different Nicolas Cage movies. Kane and I went to go see Vampire's Kiss and Wild at Heart the other night, and tonight I'm going with Patrick to see Mandy and Face Off. I cannot wait. Mandy in a cinema, and also, interestingly enough, today marks the 1 year anniversary of seeing Mandy in the cinema for the first time and falling in love with Nicolas Cage.
I have I have an argument to make. I thought we watched Mandy at the start of April, not in the middle of April. Are you sure?
It was the night before Easter. It was 110% the night before Easter.
Are you certain? Because I remember it being at the start of April.
Ruby cancelled on me, because it was Easter, and then that's how you and Laurent came about. So I got these tickets for me and my girlfriend at the time.
I guess I might be remembering it wrong. I don't know. I'll check my. I guess I'll check my letterbox later, and then I'll probably be proven wrong.
Well, very sad story. Very quickly, I got these tickets for my girlfriend at the time because she was apparently really into Nick Cage. Got them for us weeks in advance, and then a couple days beforehand, she's like, can't go because it's Easter, I want to be there with my family. It's like, heartbroken.
Family? What are you, Vin Diesel?
Easter? What? So it's okay because I fell in love that day with a little man named Nick Cage.
Yeah, God bless, man.
And on that note, we'll leave you off. Thank you for staying this long with us through our entire marathon and our ranking. And I appreciate your guidance, Kane.
No worries, man. And I'm appreciating that despite you maybe not being the biggest fan of these films, you still opened your heart and gave them a chance and still had a good time along the way.
Imagine how sad it would be if we got up to number 3 and I'm like, I can't do this, man.
I would actually be very fucking upset with you.
You're gonna have to go on there alone.
I'd be so upset with you if you did that.
Imagine,
oh my God.
Imagine if we ever get to that where, like, there's a franchise that we start with both of us here, and it ends with just one of us.
Do you really think that would ever happen, though? Because I feel like you and I, even if we hate a certain franchise, I feel like we have...
We'll enjoy talking about it.
Well, we at least have the commitment to get through it. I mean, sure, we'll end up hating ourselves during the whole process, but I feel like there's still that little inkling of fun that we can have by how angry we get.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
So I don't think that'll ever happen.
No.
But anyway, I've got to head off to this movie. Kane, please give your final words.
Yo ho, it's a pirate's life for ye. Final words, these movies, they're flawed. They're flawed. But they're my flawed movies. I love these movies with all my heart, and I don't think that's ever going to change, honestly. I may hate a lot of the aspects of the later films, but I'll always remember these movies fondly, and at least the first two will always put a smile on my face. And it's just, sometimes it's just all you need at the end of the day. It's just a nice swashbuckling adventure to get you through the day, you know what I mean?
And don't forget to check out our Facebook page at MarathonMeOfficial, all one word, and our Instagram, MarathonMe_official, to keep up to date on the podcast. And hey, if you want to get into contact with us, email us at marathonmepodc, yes, the letter C, @gmail.com. Like a podcast without the ask.